Hey everybody, welcome back to the True North Life Homestead. Can I fit in this? Today we're going to do something a little different where I am going to do a little uncut video. We're going to harvest our garlic because it is ready to come out, and I thought that we would try and give you guys an idea of bugs in my face of what it's like to do this kind of work as it happens. So we grew hardneck garlic this year. We're up in the north, so we unfortunately cannot grow softneck garlic. We can't get those beautiful braids, but we can do other things with our garlic, and it's still super delicious. This is Medici garlic that we put in about, I think, October, November last year. It is now almost August, so it's ready to come out. I may have actually left it a little bit too long, but it hadn't browned enough yet. So typically when you're growing garlic, you want to let about a third of the plant brown before you bring it out. We're roughly there now. I pulled one out the other day just to check on it and see how it was doing, and it was about the size of my fist. So we're going to see what kind of garlic we get today. We are going to be pulling everything out, and we're going to set it inside to dry it, and I will take you guys along. This is real time, what it's like to harvest. I think there's about 50 or so bulbs in here that we planted. Again, Medici hardneck garlic. It's awesome. So we're gonna get started with that. In the springtime I had row covers on here, so I'm just gonna take these off to get them out of the way. If you notice the ground, that's nice. If you notice the ground around here too, I don't know if you can see it in the frame there, but I have come through and we've gotten rid of all the weeds so that I'm not weed whacking this kind of every other day, because we're growing stuff in here and sometimes that gets on the ground. But as part of a bigger project, we've gotten rid of the weeds, and before they come up, hopefully I can see a couple of them starting to come back now. We're going to put landscape fabric down to keep them down so it'll look really, really great. Always got big plans for the garden. So this, I'm just using a shovel to break them up a little bit because we tried pulling them out just straight and some of the roots stuck. I love growing garlic, it's so great. So when you plant one bulb and then a couple of months later that's what you get, that's awesome. Like one of these bulbs is enough to do like a 4 or 5 bulb dish. So number one. And usually, I guess, you'd probably want to bang off a little bit more of the dirt here. But what is going to happen to these guys is that they're going to go into the basement. They're going to dry off, and instead of running them underneath water, it makes it a lot easier just to wait until it's all nice and dry and kind of crusty. And then just brush it off. A potato glove works really good for cleaning them off. So there you go, one bulb of garlic. It's good that we're doing this kind of before it rains too, because I've heard different things where if you do it in the sunshine, then you can kind of not really stain the bulbs, but they don't like it as much, so they can affect their shelf life a little bit. I don't know if that's a true thing or not. You can leave it in the comment section down below, but a little bit more of an average size bulb there. I don't like to take any chances with the stuff that we're going to eat. Do you have to do this with like a shovel and everything like that? No. I could be using a hand trowel. If I waited a little bit longer, I'm sure I wouldn't have needed to use anything. But this is what I've got at the moment, and I don't really feel like digging down into the ground tonight when I've got the baby in the house that I might have to go in and soothe at any time. I like to keep my hands a little bit cleaner if I can. Bam! Last year I tried to enter garlic into the local fair, but I was very pregnant at the time, so I didn't actually get in there. You can see that on this one too here. So the Medici garlic has the nice purple color to it. You can see it there up the side. So they are beautiful bulbs. Love them. And Medici is also a spicier garlic, which is really cool. Oh look! We also found a worm! Means we're doing a good job. So Medici is a spicier garlic. which is great if you like for pickling and stuff like that, if you're just going to use it raw. It is awesome. I mean, any garlic really to me is great. We like garlic in our family. Like shawarma is great. Greek food, awesome. Lots of garlic, lots of oils. We love that kind of stuff. Again, we tried to make black garlic last year. We did it in a rice cooker in my office. It smelled like garlic for so long, which is great, but every time I walked into my office I was hungry. So we tried that, and it took, I think it was like 4 months or something like that for us to get any kind of color on it, and even then it wasn't done yet. Stuff is just monstrous. Look at that. Like, it's the size of my fist. It's insane. So we were trying to do that. It took a really, really long time, and then by the time we got to it where it was starting to get to be black garlic and not just brown garlic, it started to go bad, which is a shame. So we might try a couple of different types. Look at that. Love it. A couple of different ways of doing it, but so far we haven't had any success with the garlic. And if you can just have it like that, where it's awesome anyway, it's not really worth risking it. Every year I try and plant roughly about 100 bulbs of garlic for us, which is great for our family. I could plant more. I would love to plant more. I would love one year to just have them off the side, like in the ground, as opposed to in a bed, because they do take so long. It would be nice to not have them take up a raised bed, and it would be a lot easier to just to come through and slice that one a little bit. Oh, sad. I cut that one. That sucks. So that's the danger of using a shovel. I cut that one a little bit. So we'll just put that one up on the counter. We'll try and use that a little bit sooner than the other ones. Not a big deal, especially because we go through it. I'm not like growing it for sale or anything like that at this point, so just good to have. And I think this is the big difference too about where you get your garlic. So if you're going to get your garlic from a reputable source and from the grocery store, then you're going to end up with bulbs like that. Or sorry, not from the grocery store. These are all from the local garden center. You could do it from the grocery store. Have I done it before? No. Because you don't really know the variety that you're going to get if you do that. So these, I know the variety. I know roughly what they're going to taste like. This is actually my second year doing this type of garlic. Just last time I did it, I got super excited because it was our first time growing garlic. So I didn't mark them properly. I didn't keep track properly. So going back and taste testing and stuff like that was a little bit harder because I had no idea what they were. But this time I only did the two, and there's a very distinct difference in size between them. So we're going to be able to tell which one is which is great. And if you ever want to know why my beds are as wide as they are, this is why. So I can very nicely get to half of the bed on this side, and you can see there's still 2 rows on the other side. So it's perfect. If you guys have longer arms, you can make them wider. If you have short arms, make them shorter. It's up to you. The beautiful thing about gardening is that really when it comes down to it, you're all in your own microclimates. There's no true right and wrong way to do something. As long as you're not trying to grow things in a bucket of bleach, you'll probably get something out of it. And the more, this time of year, that you get to cook with your own ingredients, the better it feels. It's just so satisfying to sit down to a meal at the end of a hard day when you're hot and sweating, and you sit down, you look at your plate, and like 90% of what is there was not bought from a store. It came from your own hard work. Feels good. fuels more than just your body, which is awesome. If I grew extra of this stuff, then it would also be going to their local food bank. Unfortunately, I don't have enough space at the moment to be able to accommodate us and the food bank. But I do with everything else. We did a load of about 20 pounds this afternoon with lettuces and a couple of herbs and a couple of zucchini that are just starting to come in, so we're still able to get something out of it, which is great. Sure. Also got the baby monitor on, so she's good. Hopefully you can hear me. Love these. That is not going to get old. So where do we dry these? They just go into our basement. We have an unfinished basement at the moment. I have a storage room that I've set aside that has no windows, but it's still good ventilation. So all the air can get around. It's dry. We've got our dehumidifier in our house, so thank goodness on summer days like today. But that's running this time of year. So lower humidity, dry. Eventually I would love to have like a cold storage or some kind of thing underneath the shop. But you know, that's the millionaire dream talking there. Not millionaire, but you know, down the road talking. Big plans. You never really have small plans when you have a acreage and you're cutting down on your food budget and you want to do more, and there's always more to do, which is great. Keeps me out of trouble. I'm a lot of trouble on my own. Oh my god, I love the size of these bulbs. When you put in like the smallest bulb that's on this, like the smallest clove to grow these, it's insane. I love it. Gonna have some garlic sauce. If it was soft neck, we'd come back and probably braid it, make it look pretty, just for bragging rights, but you don't need to do that. It's hard neck, so we're not doing that. But hopefully I can get it into the fairs this year. Note to self though, if you are going to enter garlic into the fairs, don't cut off your roots while you're drying it, which kind of sucks, because if you don't know that going in, then you could cut all your roots to bits and not be able to enter it, because they can be pretty specific about how they want your garlic to look before it gets entered to qualify. So it's best if you're intending to put garlic into the fall fair, if you haven't already, and experience what you need to do for that specific fair, because it changes for every single one of them. But keep them intact, like keep the roots intact, keep all this intact, and then you can cut them and clean them as the requirements say, because keeping the extra stuff on doesn't hurt it. You might need to add a little bit extra airflow between them, but that's easy enough. You just space them apart a little bit wider, and then you have what you've been growing for, or what you can brag about, I guess. Last year I got to brag about winning first prize at the zucchini, and then this year, hopefully we can brag about something else. As we come up on our last couple here, I'm not going to try and break this one. You can see it doesn't take a whole lot to take them out. Again, you don't need to have this shovel in the top. It's just easier at the moment. It's the tool that I've got on hand because we're doing some renovations out here. There you go. There's my little guy. He didn't grow so big. So there is some variation when you do grow them. You get your little guys. And I think this guy is about average for this pot, so this is probably a little bit smaller than your average garlic bulb, and this guy is just chunky. This is like borderline elephant garlic. There we go. That's it. So now that this bed is empty, I think we already ran the irrigation up it. Yeah, so we've got irrigation on the ground here. You can see the black pipe there. It's totally a mess down here. So this is from earlier. I snagged a piece for somebody else to have. But the black pipe down here is our irrigation line, so we'll run some actual irrigation through the garlic beds. We hadn't had time to put the irrigation in before we planted those garlic last time, which is fine. They obviously did very well, and it's been really wet the last couple of days, so that's all good. But we're coming in at the moment and we're burying this with soil, and then we're going to put landscape fabric on top so I don't have to weed this anymore, which will be great. But yeah, real time, what did that take? About 5 minutes after I'm done talking. So not so shabby for what you get out of it. If you guys have any garlic recipes or garlic heavy recipes you want to shout out to in the comment section down below, go ahead. But if you are interested in how much work it takes to get garlic, it's really one of the easier crops. Again, we put these bulbs, like the cloves, in the fall. Hardneck garlic over winter, so in the springtime they come up. They do take up a good amount of space in the garden, so I'm hoping again to get them out of the garden into the ground eventually. That way we can free up some more space for us, so we can do more spinach and more lettuces and more quicker turnaround crops. And then these guys can sit and mature, hopefully with the onions in the ground at a different location. But if we're going to get bulbs that are the size of your hand, then you can't really complain no matter where it is. And you don't use it all at once. This is last year. They typically say that garlic stores for about 3 to 4 months. But we ended up storing ours right up until, I think we're going through our last couple of bulbs now. So that's basically a year, save for the couple of weeks it takes to dry this. And it's going to go into the basement where they're going to have lots of space to air out. We're going to spread them out so that air can get in and around them. And you can tell how many kind of papery layers are on a piece of garlic, depending on how many leaves are coming off of it. So if you're cleaning them up, you can tell how aggressive you can be with cleaning them. If you only want to take a couple layers off, then you know this one I can say I'd be safe to take 2 of them off, and then I'd still have all these other green layers, and that would be fine. Or if I want to go a little bit heavier, if I don't have as many leaves on it, then I can focus more on kind of brushing off the outside as opposed to peeling the layers off to get that nice crisp white and purpley outside, which is just so enticing and so delicious. So yeah, that's it. If you guys want to know what it's like to harvest garlic, ta-da! This is what you get from it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while I did some of my gardening chores this afternoon, and I will see you guys next time.